Hi everyone, happy Wedding Wednesday. I'm excited to bring another episode of Wedding Wednesdays to you. If you're not familiar, every Wednesday we bring free new content covering all things wedding related. If you want to have access to more in-depth videos, email us at weddings@mode-event.com. From there, that will put you on our mailing list and you'll have access to all of the content that we have available. This week we are going to talk about officiating a wedding, what it looks like for a family member or a friend to officiate your wedding. Being asked to officiate a wedding is quite an honor, and it is also an intimidating responsibility. We hope that this video gives you a little bit of insight in terms of what to consider when officiating a wedding. 1, if they're getting married outside of a religious space like a church. 2, if they practice different religions. Or 3, if they are not religious at all. Here are a few helpful reminders of how to put your best foot forward when officiating a wedding, as well as a breakdown of the different components of a wedding ceremony. Most importantly, you will need to look into what your local and state jurisdictions require to make a marriage ceremony legal. You can find quite a few credible organizations online that don't have hefty fees and have quick turnaround times. One organization that we commonly see is Universal Life Church. Don't forget that you will most likely be either leading the wedding ceremony rehearsal or you'll be assisting a wedding planner at the rehearsal. In the event that you will be leading the rehearsal, be sure to get the list of names from the couple of people walking down the aisle, as well as the order of the names of people walking down the aisle. This is called the ceremony processional. Also, it's helpful to think ahead and decide 2 things. 1, if you want to use a microphone, and if so, what type of microphone you'd like to use. And 2, will you be using notes that are from electronic device or papers? If you do decide to use a microphone, there are several types of microphone options, not to overwhelm you, but you can use a lavalier microphone, which is commonly clipped onto a dress or a suit coat or a t-shirt. You can use a standing microphone, which will again come with a stand, and you can also use a handheld microphone. Keep in mind though, if you do have notes, you will need to use your hands to turn the pages or swipe on your electronic device. We highly recommend using notes. I, to be honest, have never seen an officiant not use notes, even if they've been a professional officiant for years. Whether you use paper or an electronic device for your notes, make sure to consider if you'll need to have your hands free for a microphone or if you need a stand such as a music stand to hold either the papers or the device. Next, let's quickly review the order of ceremony components. We will start with a procession. Traditionally, the groom and the officiant will walk down first, or they'll be standing waiting for everyone else to walk down the aisle. Grandparents and then parents follow, followed by the bridal party and any ring bearers and flower girls. The flower girls will be the last people to walk down the aisle before the bride because they will be sprinkling the rose petals or flower petals in advance to the bride walking down. The bride will walk down last, either by herself or escorted by her father or a close family member or friend. Depending on your culture, you may want to change the order of people walking down the aisle. For example, in Jewish culture, the groom traditionally walks down the aisle with his parents, followed by the bride walking with her parents. Next is the approval blessing, also known as the giveaway. Guests are welcomed, and the officiant will give their opening blessing and opening remarks, such as the common "we are gathered here today" line that we've often heard at wedding ceremonies. Next is what we call the charge to the couple / the declaration of intent. This is also known as the I do's, the very important I do's. This is actually the legal component that's required for the ceremony. After the couple says their I do's, it is now time to exchange vows. The officiant can either read the couple's vows for them, or the couple can read their own vows to each other. Okay, so the couple has said I do, they've exchanged vows. Now it is time for the exchange of the rings. The officiant can bless their rings during this exchange if they wish. We actually had a couple about a year ago take their wedding rings, they put them in a bowl, and they passed this bowl throughout the entire ceremony. So it took about the full 30 minutes to do this, but they passed the bowl from guest to guest, and each guest put their blessing, their own personal blessing, onto the rings. I thought that was a really special idea, something you might want to consider yourself. All right, we are now to the second component of the marriage ceremony that is required to make it legal, which is the pronouncement of marriage. After the couple has been pronounced legally married, it is now time for a kiss. Of course, not required, but a really fun photo opportunity. Wrapping up the ceremony are the closing remarks and the presentation of the couple by the officiant. An example of the presentation of the new couple would be, I now pronounce the new Mr. and Mrs. XYZ last name, or the new Mr. and Mr., or the new Mrs. and Mrs. XYZ last name. Last but not least is the recession. First, the newlywed couple will exit, followed by their wedding party, followed by their parents, which are usually sitting in the first row, and then the guests will depart after them. This is essentially the processional in reverse, if that helps at all. Be sure to ask the couple that's getting married what is most important to them, as well as asking if there's anything that they do not want you to include in their ceremony. They may have readings that are special to them that they would like to include in their ceremony, such as scriptures, lyrics to songs, or poems. They also may have other religious or cultural ceremonies that they would like to include. Last but not least, do not forget to bring the marriage license with you to the ceremony. You will need to sign this after the ceremony concludes. This is actually one of the most common forgotten things that we've seen at weddings. After the ceremony concludes, you will need to sign the marriage license along with the couple. Make sure again to do some research for your jurisdiction in your state as well as your local jurisdiction, because every state is different in terms of its requirements, and depending on your jurisdiction, most states require 2 witnesses to sign the license as well. Oftentimes the witnesses chosen are the matron/maid of honor and the best man. Just like most things in life, if you are properly prepared, the ceremony will be a breeze. Just take the time to figure out what exactly you want to say, and the day of the wedding, everything will go smoothly. Hopefully you're feeling more relaxed after viewing this video and not overwhelmed. That is all for today. Thank you again for joining us. Please join our mailing list if you haven't already done so. Just email us at weddings@mode-event.com. Once you join our mailing list, you'll gain access to our more in-depth videos that we have to offer. We can't wait to see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye. Almost done. Oh, Lord. Cheekbones on point when I do that. Yeah. Now I hear my neighbor's pipes going. Ooh. I haven't done that in so long. Okay, back to work. Nailed it.